Hello, everybody. Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas. I'm going to share a Facebook post with you. This is really interesting. I named it Electrocuted While Committing Crimes, and I shared a news story that had just come out. It said 2 men electrocuted while trying to steal from power substation, police say. Well, that reminded me of what happened at my house, okay? I said, based on evidence found, I strongly suspected that Landman Attorney Matt Hyman was electrocuted after him and his friends broke into my home. This happened 2 weeks before I was shot by surprise with my phone lines cut in a premeditated murder attempt. And some people have suggested that that murder attempt was some kind of weird criminal revenge thing. The reason this was not reported to the police, or would not be reported to the police, is because it would expose the tunnels and underground homes here and could lead to the arrest of his friends that have been helping to cover this up. Okay, I'd like to say 5 people break into the home, 1 of them gets killed, all the other 4 get charged with that death. I mean, that's the law. That's how that works, you know. So if his friends would have reported him being electrocuted in my home, they would have gone to prison. Well, I mean, they would have gone to prison anyway because they're breaking into my home because they did it while they're committing a felony. Matt Hyman died on the same day, and at the same time, I'd put electricity on my bedroom doorknob to stop another home invasion. I would expect most Oilfield landmen to be connected with the infamous oil show parties believed to have been held in the underground home in my backyard. He was a landman. I'm going to show you this obituary here. Okay, here's this picture. Matt Don Hyman, 33. That's kind of young to die. Basically, I had people breaking my home. I put electricity on the doorknob, and then 2 weeks later, I'm ambushed and shot. I went back and looked in the obituaries to see if anybody had died that day. Had anybody grabbed that electrified doorknob I'd done? And there he was on the same exact day. But that don't mean he died in my house. And then I saw that he was a landman, petroleum landman for Choate, and then also he became an attorney for Cotton, Bledsoe, Ty, and Dawson. That was the Midland City Attorney, is who it used to be. And so that raised a lot of suspicions. Did this young man die in my home? But I didn't know how he died, where he died, when he died. And I was asking questions on Facebook. Okay. And here was a comment that come in even right under that. Is this a coincidence? I can certainly see why you think it would have happened at your home. It's quite possibly it did, considering all the circumstances. I said my guess is that Matt grabbed my bedroom doorknob and was then electrocuted. His friends then tried to blame me. That would explain the pre-planned murder attempt 2 weeks later. Now, if they had reported this to the police, like good, decent people do, then the criminals with him would be charged with his death. Okay? I mean, that's a fact. Okay, and she says, of course they would blame you. They certainly wouldn't see themselves to be blamed. It's totally insane in thinking, but that's how these type of people operate. It makes sense what you're putting down, friend, because they're breaking into a private home. They're committing a felony, and then one of them gets killed, and of course they're not going to admit that. That's what she's saying. I said Matt's former sister-in-law, Natalie, who was my nurse, by the way, told me that Matt died at the same time I had electricity on my bedroom doorknob, and he had surprise heart failure, which is what you would expect would happen if you had gotten electrocuted. He was 33 years old. Okay, he's a young man. Okay, so Natalie, I posted on Facebook asking this question. I wonder if Matt died in my house, and he had a genetic heart defect that nobody knew about. So he had a surprise heart failure. Nobody. And I said, was he messing with electricity that day? It only takes 100 milliamps to stop the heart. That's all it takes and I had electricity on that doorknob, and I knew somebody was breaking in my home. And then oh no, that couldn't be it. And then I said, do you remember when he died? Because if he died in the morning, this happened in the afternoon. Oh no, but he died at the exact same time I had electricity on my doorknob. What a coinky dinky. Young man, 33, surprise heart failure. And that's exactly what electricity will do. It stops the heart. 2 of Matt's friends, who are also landmen, threatened me online in a desperate attempt to stop me from asking questions. I wondered if they were under my home when I was shot and or at one of the underground parties. Okay. Okay, here's Brian Hillman, this rude guy. Dude, you're barking up the wrong tree. I suggest you taking this down. Immediately read the direct message I just sent you. He threatened me. I'm going to show you that in a minute, you know. And this Maria, she's reading what's wrote, and she's going, are they always threatening you like this, buddy? I'm going, all the time, man. I can't count it. I can't tell you how many times I've been threatened after surviving a premeditated murder attempt. And the only thing I did was being home, mind my own business. And this guy, Chris Mertz, he worked for my company, right? He was extremely rude, and here you can see him answered it face to face like a man. So this guy's really accept the consequences. This guy's really threatening me here, you know. And he's also a landman. Brian Hillman's a landman, and I think that's real interesting. Yeah, I would like to know where they were at on that night on the 14th, and I'd like to also know where they at 2 weeks later on the 28th. Maybe they were under my home, you know. Landman Brian Hillman then threatened me via messenger, asked him where he was at on the night of the murder attempt. He said he didn't know. I was told that a lot of people were here when I was shot, which would mean in the underground bunker in the backyard. This was the private message from Brian Hillman. Matt's not your guy. This is my ex-wife's late husband. He married the widow is what happened, which is very interesting, okay? And here you can see the story about the cause. It was arrhythmia. My wife's pushed for her testing. There's a news story on CBS 7. Do you know CBS 7 is the one news station here that has me blocked? They blocked me, and I'm the one with evidence trying to stop crimes and murders in Midland, Texas. And the CBS 7 ain't that interested. CBS 7. Oh yeah, here's the proof. It's CBS 7. Yeah, right. You know, CBS 7 that's hid all these crimes from the public. All these people reporting people in the attic, and while I was shot, reporting people in the attic. A guy running for sheriff said our last sheriff was hanging out in the underground homes here. Another lady saying pedophile parties. They've hid all that from the public. CBS 7. So I don't consider them the portrayers of truth for sure. I mean, I could see them trying to cover up this death, you know. And here I'm talking about the girl being murdered. It says, I'm not interested in your rhetoric bullshit. I'm interested in you taking this stuff down. The only threat you receive will be legal is what he says, you know. And I'm just asking, where were you at on January 28, 2012? I want to know if you were under my home, if you pulled the trigger when I walked by under my home. You know, oh, I don't know. Well, he don't know. Ain't that convenient? Okay. Here, several years later, I'm at the grocery store, and Matt Hyman or Brian Hillman comes up and shakes my hand. I don't know who he is, you know, and then he says, "Watch your back," and I was like, "Is that a threat?" He said, "Yes, it is." I was concerned I was going to be shot with my phone lines cut yet again. And we know who covers up murders in Midland, Texas, right? It's the police and the press. That's who covers up the murders here, you know. And this was posted from the parking lot of the Albertson grocery store right after I got threatened by Brian Hillman. This was a few years after he threatened me here, right? And like I said, I'm suspecting that this was Matt Hyman's friends. I highly suspect that Matt Hyman died in my house, electrocuted while committing crimes.